All right, team. So, guys, we are going to jump straight into it because I want to make sure we stick to our time. So, guys, just remember, guys, you're all on mute. You're going to only hear me project through. Make sure you guys have a notepad as always so you guys could take notes. And just remember, I have my notes that I'll end up posting on each page for you guys too. So, you guys will have like a breakdown or blueprint of what was discussed today. All right. So, guys, to jump straight into it, today is the Be Great and Dominate Mindset seminar. All right. So, I've been doing a bunch of the seminars and talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people pick up. I've covered like depression, anxiety, stress, all these things, how to stay motivated. And the things people talk to me and message me back about the most is more of like the dominating mindset of like in the workplace and how to achieve things and stuff like that, which I found interesting, you know. So I have a full protocol on like what I do and what I want to teach you guys today. It's more than just teaching you a mindset. I want to teach you guys and get you guys to understand that you should have a principle driven life, right? So you should have principles and a value system that you follow in your life to get you to where you want or to control the decisions you make, right? And you know, that's something that they do in business and stuff like that, like the Marriotts and the Disneylands. They have the core values that they all follow and stuff like that. And for me, I years ago I started to develop my own core values and my principles that I live by. So when I make decisions or when I do things in my life or things happen, I can look at my principles that I live by and make sure that I am following my value system and I am doing the things that I want to live by. And I'm kind of known for a more aggressive mindset and way of thinking, which I'm going to discuss with you guys today, right? Because this is like my principles, my value system. And that's where a lot of our members and our people connect to me because of that mindset, right? So I'm going to be telling you guys my way, but you also need to analyze your way. Your mindset might not be as aggressive. It might be some other type of principles, but the key is to start developing a system that you follow for yourself, that works for you, that connects with you. And so you are constantly following your principles and your values of your life that are meaningful for you, right? So I'm just going to kind of display mine, which is like the Be Great and Dominate mindset, right? So I'm known for saying be great and dominate and all this stuff like that. But what does that really mean? You know, and I never really, I've never like talked about it because I have more aggressive, very raw kind of way of thinking, you know, and a lot of people really kind of picked up on the Be Great and Dominate concept and mantra, and they kind of developed it into their own ideas and stuff, which is awesome, you know. And but I'm gonna, for the first time, actually tell you guys what it means to me, you know. And these are like my principles. This is how I live my life. And you know, this is my value system and the way that I do things and I operate daily. And I encourage you guys to have like a layout of your guys' principles, because this really helps me stay on track and stay with who I am. And the people that know me closely hold me to these values and these principles as well, right? So when I slip, this is something you constantly have to practice, but when I'm slipping out of my principles, people like my wife know, people that really know me, and they're like, hey, that's not you. Why are you saying that? Why are you thinking like that? So people that know my principles and my values could keep me in check. So I'm always checking myself, and then my close people are checking me as well because they know exactly what I do, you know? So I just want to get into that and just understand that that's what today is about. It's about developing, having a principle driven life and a value system for yourself, right? You have to develop that. You have to take the time to do that, right? So for me, guys, number one is self-belief, right? So there's no particular order. Nothing's like better than the other. I just kind of, these are how I lay them out. So the first one is self-belief and pushing beyond limits and believing that you can achieve anything. So for me, I look at that and I always told myself, like, people that know me know I came from a very rough beginning. So I had to believe in myself. I always told myself I had to become my number one fan in order to basically make it out of the circumstances I was in. So if you were here 2 seminars ago, you know a lot of my backstory and how difficult it was. So it really was me having to understand that I could do it. You know what I mean? And that was the foundation of just understanding and then believing in myself. And I believe we all need to develop that concept of self-belief. And the way that I really started to, believe in myself more was when I would make decisions and accomplish them. That would make me believe in myself. So sticking to things, accomplishing things, when I say I'm going to do something, do it. And that gave me more confidence, more self-belief in myself that I could do this, that I could overcome things. And it started with that mindset shift of self-belief, right? And then number two is a positive mental attitude. And that I call it's PMA, positive mental attitude. And honestly, about 6-7 years ago, I stumbled upon a positive mental attitude. I read a book by Napoleon Hill called Success Through Positive Mental Attitude. And when I read it, it was just like, boom, like this, just like, you just read something, you consume something, and just like everything just starts to click. You're like, whoa, that was a very profound moment. And for me, I'm not a person that just reads things and then moves on. I read things, analyze it, break it down, and then I practice it, apply it until it is like in me. So with that, I started the concept of positive mental attitude is everything that happens in your life or happens, you find the positive aspect of it. You know what I mean? So like right now, the coronavirus is going crazy and all that, but what are the positives? You know what I mean? We've adapted to it and have done awesome things in our business and change things in business. I'm able to spend more time with my daughter and do more with my family, all of these things. So it's like, how, when things go wrong, are you able to shift it, right? And every day, just trying to stay in a positive mental frame, right? So when things come, for me, it's like when something bad happens, immediately I'm like positive mental attitude. And I try to find the good or the positive in that situation, right? And so I'm known for being a very positive person because I constantly am training myself to think that way. And it took a long time to like constantly just, and now it's just like, I always see the good in almost everything. You know what I mean? And then when I don't, that's where it comes me having people understand the importance of positive mental attitude. If I'm being negative, my wife will be like, yo, PMA, PMA. My brother will be like, PMA, PMA. They know my principles, they know my values, and it puts me in check really fast, because that's not who I want to be, right? So positive mental attitude and just looking for the good in everything, right? And then number three, guys, is honor thy craft. Honor your craft. For me, I realized like that, your profession, what you do professionally is where you spend majority of your life. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, I want to be a pro and a master of my craft, right? So it's respect the process of learning, always be willing to master skills that are necessary for you to be elite in your profession, right? Educate yourself in any field you believe it will make you more successful. Never stop learning. Never stop trying to be a pro or a master of your profession and your craft, right? Because for me, it's like you're spending so much time in what you do. So why not be the best at it? Why not be the most dominating person at it, right? Why just be average and mediocre at it, And this is the thing that I get messaged a lot on when I talk, because I talk about, being dominant in your workplace. And when you step into work, just giving it your all the time, right? And just having that attitude that professionally you're going to be the best at whatever you're doing, and it doesn't matter what it is, right? I'm a coach, so I try to be the best at it. You could be a waitress, but you could still be the best waitress and have the best positive attitude and talking to people in customer service and engaging with people. You could be a janitor and just make sure the place is spotless, and just you could still take honor in any craft you do, right? Let me see what someone messaged me. So we're not all the same at work as we are at home, Jones. Is that what you're saying? So the distinction of like positive mental attitude. So like having a negative attitude at home and then having a positive one at home, like um, something like that. So for me, it's like my principles are always the same. I don't care where I'm at, home, work. I don't care what person I'm around. I live this way. You know what I mean? So when I'm at home, I'm very positive towards my wife, towards my daughter, towards everybody. Right? When I'm in my workplace, I'm constantly, I never stop practicing these principles because this is my value system. Right? So like in like, why would it change? You know, why would I change who I am at home compared to at work? You know, so it's just constantly trying to live this way no matter what, you know. And really that can be a struggle for some people, you know, because you could have difficulties at home, you could have maybe difficulties at work, and it's harder, but that's where the challenge is, trying to find that positive in everything no matter what, you know. And it's a hard thing to practice. Like it was very hard for me to practice it, but over time I got really good at it and it just became the way that I thought, you know, and immediately it's just pre-programming yourself, right? And yeah, Success Through Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill. Yes. It's one of my favorite books ever, ever. And then get back to number 3. So yeah, guys, be a professional. Like take pride in what you do. You know what I mean? When you step through the doors every single day, be willing to be better than everyone else. And it's okay to want to be the best, right? A lot of people are like, I don't want to step on toes or no, just go in, do your absolute best and just honor what you do, no matter what it is, because that's how you're going to get recognized. That's how you're going to actually bring success and more joy and more happiness to your life, because you're taking pride in what you do. And then when you're good at something you spend 90% of your life doing, that's going to make you more happy, right? Because you spend so much time doing that. Why not be the best at it? Why accept mediocre, you know, work, you know, in something you do? So do whatever it takes. If you have to invest in, you know, education, mentorship, whatever, go all in on your profession to make sure that you are the best at it. Because when you're the best at it, you're going to love it, right? And you are going to, your life is going to be better because you spend most of your time doing that your work, you know. So just honor your craft and be a professional and be the best at it, right? Then guys, number 4 is avoid the unhappy and unlucky, right? No matter who it is or what relationship you have with them, negative energy will bring negative results to your life, period, right? And for me, that one has really, it's changed my life doing that one, right? Because, and you have to be very, you know, you gotta be ruthless with it, you know, because you're talking about family members, your mom, your dad, your siblings, your cousins, whatever, whoever they are, right? You have to, if they have a negative attitude, if they are unhappy, if they are unlucky, you have to distance yourself from those people. And we've talked about that in previous seminars, but you really have to apply it. And I think most people don't apply it because they're scared of how people are going to react to them. But guess what? You got to get over that and distance yourself from those type of people, because they are unhappy. That energy is going to become a part of you, right? It's going to be a part of you. And then people that are just unlucky, because their attitude, they're constantly attracting that type of energy into their life because that's all they see, right? So me and us, we constantly see the positive in everything. So positivity is what comes into our life, right? These guys see unhappiness and you know, bad things are constantly happening. So they're constantly like expecting it to come, right? Then they try to rub that onto you. So for me, it's like, if I even see someone with that, I avoid them, like, period. You know, and it doesn't matter if it's my mom, my dad, believe me, I've done it. You know, I've done whatever it takes for me to be successful or to be happy, right? Because knowing that being around these type of people will bring you down. They will suck the energy out of you, right? And you have to take control of that and have the willingness to distance yourself from those type of people. So for me, that's a big one. And if I meet new people in my life that come into my life and I sense like unhappiness in them and bad energy, then I'm away from them. You know what I mean? I try to help people, but if you help them and it doesn't make an impact, then you have to separate yourself, right? And that's a hard one to juggle, you know, with the new people that come into your life. But you really have to analyze it fast and be like, this person could really bring me down, so bye, you know, and be really ruthless with the people you surround yourself with, you know what I mean? Because who you surround yourself is who you become, you know what I mean? And control the type of people that come into your life, right? And now, like, because we always have like I always have a positive attitude and stuff, I feel like now I attract more of that into my life. So the people that I meet are actually more like-minded individuals, right? Because I'm constantly seeking that out, and that's who ends up coming into our lives, because that's what we practice, you know what I mean? So just avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, right? And then like that's like if I meet someone and stuff, I will really analyze that, you know what I mean? And be like, is this person unhappy and unlucky and a negative individual? If it's a yes, then I'm probably like, bye. Simple as that, you know what I mean? And it's just that quick of a call for me, you know. I've trained myself to do that, you know what I mean? And like I told you guys, like my mindset is a lot more aggressive than most people, but this is the way I do things. You're gonna have to figure out what works for you, you know what I mean? This works for me, right? Then guys, the next one, number 5, is guard your reputation with your life. Your reputation is everything. You know what I mean? As an individual, as a person in business, whatever it is, your reputation is the cornerstone of your success, of your happiness, everything, right? It's like you get one life, but you also get like one reputation. You could ruin that, which could impact the rest of your life, right? So everything you're doing should be to have a good kind of image and a good reputation, right? And take that very, very serious, you know? And for me, it's like every decision I make is like, is it going to make my reputation good how it is, or is this going to bring me down and make me look bad in people's eyes? You know what I mean? And that's just how I could judge things. Any choice I make, it's like, is this good for the reputation of my family, of everything, right? So you're just always analyzing that and guarding it and not putting that in jeopardy for anybody, because it is that important. Because when you start getting connected with bad things and labeled certain ways, then that can be an issue, you know, for a very long time, and for the rest of your life, depending on what happens, right? Let's see what, there we go. Be ruthless with the people. Yeah. So guys, guard your reputation with your life. You know what I mean? Everything choice you make, every decision you make sure that that decision is good for your reputation and for, you know, how you are personally viewed, how your family is viewed, how the people you are connected with are. It should be lifting up everybody. You shouldn't be making decisions that could dramatically alter your life because you made one or two bad choices, right? And if you do, you got to do whatever you can to recover from it and to get that reputation back to how it's supposed to be, right? So guard your reputation with your life. And then guys, number 6 is total victory. So if people don't know me, I'm extremely competitive. Like winning is basically, that's all I see, you know? And like I said, not everyone it thinks like me, but that's how I operate, right? Competition, the competition side, like I have to win no matter what, at all costs, right? Anything that stands in the way will be destroyed in my path, right? And that's the competitive nature of me. You know, if anyone or something is standing in the way, it's basically do whatever it takes to gain victory, right? And I think like that because basically I think like it's them or me, you know, it's them or me, and I have to win at all costs. That's just the way that I think about things. And that's because I love history, and I'm a student of like commanders and world conquerors, and, you know, Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great, Napoleon Bonaparte, all these guys. That's what I think like, because that's what I study. So I have a very dominating thought process when it comes to winning and success, and and there's no other option for me. You know what I mean? So when things pop up, maybe you could say coronavirus and stuff like that, what happens, it's like, I know in most of my team is like the same way. So when something like this happens, it's not like, we're not like, oh, surrender. We're like, adapt in victory, right? Everyone else could surrender, but we will not. You know what I mean? And that's how we think, you know what I mean? As a team, you know, and as individuals. And I'm like that too. It's like, no, I don't know what quitting means. I have to do total victory. That means it's like win and then keep on going until you embarrass them and destroy them. Like, that's how absolutely like aggressive it is. Like, it's not even about winning, it's about embarrassing you and making you have nightmares about me when you go to bed, type of mentality, right? So that's what total victory means. It's like, that's the competitive nature. How hard are you just going to get after it every single day, right? And like I said, I'm a more aggressive individual. You guys got to come up with your own principles, but like, that's how I analyze things, right? Because it's like, when bad things happen or competition happens, I look at this and I see total victory. That's a principle I live by. So I'm not going to accept anything else besides victory. That's all that matters to me, right? Because in order for me to, you got to understand where I come from, guys. I was homeless. I came from absolutely zero to build a very successful life for myself and for my wife and my daughter, right? And nothing is going to get away in the way of that, because they are not going to ever experience what I experienced, right? My daughter's never going to know what the inside of a homeless shelter looks like, or what a day it is to go hungry, or what it's like to sleep in a car, right? She's never going to know it, because I believe in total victory, and that's never going to happen, right? So the aggressiveness comes from where I come from, because it took that to get to where I am today, and nothing else is going to stand in the way for me maintaining what I've gotten, right? Because I don't want to experience it again, and I don't want my family to, right? So the aggressive nature of how I operate is necessary, right? That's how I justify it in my head, okay? Then guys, next, number 7 is plan, execute, conquer. Plan, execute, conquer, right? So this one is think things through before you begin. Always have a strategic plan to cover yourself in every angle. Think, act, win. So if people know me, like, I have journals all over my house. So like, people will say, they ask me, hey, what do you think about this concept or whatever? I never react. I'm like, I could let you know tomorrow, right? Because I have to think, right? It's strategic thinking, right? Then I develop a plan, right, for whatever that issue is, and then I deliver the information, what thought behind it, right? I'm not reactionary to things. I think about it, I develop a plan, right? Then I execute that plan with action, and then guess what? We're gonna win, right? Because there's thought, intention, and you do things deliberately, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be like, Ryan, you gotta work out for like tomorrow. No, but give me a little bit of time. I got it. You know what I mean? What's the seminar? Don't worry about it. I got a few weeks to do it. I'll get it done. Whatever it is, right? It's taking the time to actually think about things and then execute, because people that just react to things, guess what? When they produce something, it's crap. You know what I mean? But the people that actually put thought, strategy behind it, it's going to be a higher chance of success, because there's meaning and they did it deliberately with thought behind it, right? So I train myself to, no matter what, think about every single scenario and how we're going to win, right? So it's a very militant like type of strategy. Like, think of every single plan, so whatever we do is the best option available, right? To make sure that our likelihood of success is higher, right? So that's just the way that I think. So it's plan, execute, conquer. And I take that super serious. It's like, it doesn't even matter what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're going to Disneyland. Plan, execute, conquer, baby. Get the whole strategy down, got it, and then we go have a blast. right? That's just how I think. That's how my wife thinks. You know what I mean? Because whatever we do, we want to make sure it has the the most successful outcome, right? Instead of just winging things. That's just so I train myself to plan, execute, conquer, make sure that I have a strategic plan and everything, right? And then number 8, guys, is to just do your absolute best, right? So like I even coach that in classes and stuff like that. I'm like, just do your absolute best, because if everything you do, it doesn't matter what you do in life, if you just do your absolute best, and when that whatever you're doing is over, and you can leave satisfied knowing that you just did the best that you could, that's all you could have done, right? But you'd never want to leave a situation or something knowing that you had more to give. That's the worst. That's when regret starts to happen. So it's do your absolute best in everything you do, right? No matter what it is. So when you leave, you're satisfied with the performance you gave, or the output you gave, the energy you gave towards it, and that will make you happy. And maybe you didn't win, maybe you didn't get the outcome you wanted, but if you could still say you gave your best, that is a win, right? You should still be satisfied with yourself knowing that you gave everything you could give, no matter the outcome of that situation, right? So that's like what I that's something that I practice, is just give my absolute best, you know what I mean, in it. And then whatever the outcome is, it is what it is. But I just want to know that I gave my personal best, to try to make this happen, you know what I mean? And so that's going to make me satisfied with what I've done, right? So just make sure you're giving your absolute best. When you pursue anything in life, make sure you give your absolute all, so you can be satisfied with yourself regardless of the outcome, right? And then next, guys, number 9, win-win deals. So like I just believe in ethics, being ethical, and win-win deals. Any type of negotiation, any type of act that I make with anybody, I want to make sure both parties are happy and win, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? I just want to know when I go to bed at night that I didn't rub anyone wrong. I didn't rip any people off. I want to be a highly ethical person when people know that I did whatever I could for them, and to make the deal the best for them. No matter what it is, no matter what I do, I just want to have a 50-50 deal and just make sure that everyone is happy at the end of the day. I will even take less to make sure that the situation, that everyone is happy. You know what I mean? Because I want to be an ethical individual who goes to bed at night knowing I didn't rip anyone off. I didn't take advantage of people. I didn't do anything to take from people, right? And for me personally, that makes me happy at night, knowing that I've never done anything wrong to anybody. You know what I mean? So just being an ethical individual who always does right by people, and that's where I mean about the 50-50 deal. Just do right by people, and you'll be much happier knowing when you go to sleep at night that you've never rubbed anyone wrong, or you did whatever you could to make sure that everyone was taken care of and happy about whatever decisions you've made, right? And then, guys, number 10 is obsession is okay. That one that I just had to, like, for me, I had to make sure. I have a very extreme personality. I'm an extremist. So when I go all in something, it's like all in, and it could be classified as obsessiveness. You know what I mean? And for me, I had to actually tell myself that it's okay. You know what I mean? That there's nothing wrong with me and the way that I do these things. That being my obsessive nature is okay, as long as I'm being obsessed in good things, right? Because I feel like having obsessiveness in you, I come from a family of addicts, of drug addicts, alcoholics. So obsessiveness and addiction is like in my blood, right? So for me, I wanted to take that obsessiveness that I have and put it towards like positive things. So for me, it's like being obsessed with being a great husband, obsessed with my health, obsessed with all of our members being happy. It's like just being all in obsessive with good things, you know what I mean? And using that quality and understanding that it's okay to have that nature when I'm in a project, to get obsessed in it and just not go to bed until it's complete, it's okay. You know what I mean? And I had to really tell myself like nothing's wrong with me, you know, that it's okay to have that, but to use that trait as like a gift, you know. And a lot of people in my family have used that obsessive, addictive nature to go towards destruction. You know what I mean? And for me, I've decided that I have that trait. I want to use it for like constructive stuff that's going to build me up or build those around me. And obsessiveness is okay. I just have to utilize it in the right way because I have that inside of me to get obsessed with things, right? So for me, just knowing myself, being self-aware and saying that it's okay, but generate it towards good things, right? And then guys, 11 is don't be afraid of risk, right? Don't be afraid to bet on yourself, right? So I think like you have to gamble in life. You can't be afraid to do things. You can't be afraid. And I think most people are afraid to take risk on themselves. They're afraid to, you know, go to school and get a higher education because of loans or whatever. They're afraid to open up that business they've always wanted to do. They're afraid to start that side hustle they always dreamed of. They're afraid to, like, everyone just lives afraid to take risk, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, if you actually just leap in and go for it, you're probably going to accomplish it because you're more passionate for it, right? You just are living with that scaredness inside. And for me, I tried to train myself to take risks. So when something risky pops up, it's like people will ask me, "You want to do this?" Or okay, you know what I mean? And then we just go after I strategically plan, execute, and do all my system, right? But it's knowing that I am willing to take risks. I'm willing to do things maybe others aren't going to do. I'm willing to attempt. I'm willing to fail. You know what I mean? And I think for me, I know it might be harder for other people, but for me, coming from absolutely zero, like being homeless and all that, having gone through that actually doesn't make me as scared as most people, right? Because I already know what like the worst could be, and that doesn't really scare me. You know, I don't want to go back, so I'll work absolutely hard to never go back, but it doesn't scare me, you know what I mean? So I'm willing to take risks, and I think it's more risky to just do the average thing everyone else does in life. That is the biggest, that's the risk people are taking, just doing the normal. You know what I mean? Like, why? The riskiest thing you could do is just do average and take a regular job and do this and do that and do that. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you have to like just go for things, attempt things, and see how it goes. You know what I mean? Or else a lot of people are just, that's why there's a lot of unhappiness. People aren't having they're too scared to make the leap on things. You know what I mean? And you have to train yourself to just go for it. You know what I mean? And just be smart about it. Plan, execute, conquer, have every angle covered, then make that jump, you know? But what's the worst thing that can happen? You got to go back to like doing whatever you're doing now or whatever, you know, like the, the, the downfall is never that bad. You know what I mean? So it's like, why not just take risks? So for me, it's like, be willing to take risk in everything, no matter what it is, right? We got some good stuff here. Yep, right there from Jones. If you don't take a chance, you could regret it possibly forever. You know, sometimes it's just better to try. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And the Dieta, don't be afraid of failure, be terrified of regret. You know, I don't know who said that, but it sticks with me. Absolutely. Right. You know, and that's one thing too. It's like that regret thing in my mind. It's like, if I don't take this risk, am I going to regret this because I was scared or something like that? And it's like, I don't want to live like that. I'd rather fail knowing that I tried my best, gave my all, and then I'm going to pick myself back up and go for it again. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you have to think. That's a dominating nature. And that's how most successful high achievers actually think, right? What do they always say? Like, how many times do all these guys fail before they have that like one big thing? You just need that one big thing to happen for you. You know what I mean? But it's everyone else just sitting back, reserved, afraid to take the leap. While all these other guys are just taking risk after risk after risk after risk after risk, right? And that's the person I want to be, you know, willing to take that risk. And I know a lot of you are like that and willing to take that risk, you know, and living not afraid, right? And then guys, the next one, I think I just got a message. Let me read it first. There we go. Absolutely, Jonesy. Then guys, the next one is number 12, radical realism. You know, see things for what they really are. Look at the world for what it really is and don't be distracted by the bullshit, right? So that's one. It's like I'm not a fan of like the news. I'm not a fan of a lot of people's opinions and stuff. I'm more of like I want to analyze things for myself and come up with a thought or idea on something, you know. Or I try to break through what people are really saying and get to the truth, because you know what people throw out there and stuff is rarely what it really is. You know what I mean? So trying to look at the world for what really is going on and just being really real, radically real and honest with myself, and not just trying to buy into whatever's out there. You know what I mean? I want to be a person that analyzes things, comes up with a thought, an idea of my own, and try to search through things, right? So that's something that was a little bit interesting, but that's what I like to do. I don't like to just take the word of people, you know what I mean? I just gotta know, see it is for what it is, you know, but not worse for what it is, you know? Exactly. You're an independent thinker. And that's the best way to put it right there. It's like being an independent thinker who thinks on their own about everything. You know what I mean? Because people are filtering in whatever they want you to hear. You know what I mean? And they're controlling the narrative on all things. But you need to control the narrative by being really honest with yourself, reading, researching, analyzing things, studying people's behavior, how they're speaking, to get a real idea of what's really happening. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us need to do that. And a lot of you, it's thinking on your own. You know what I mean? And just not accepting, like Michelle said, it's being an independent thinker about everything. You know what I mean? And like I just try to train myself. Like for me, I have to practice a lot of these still. You know what I mean? So it's like that's why I have the principles laid out for me. So I make sure I'm looking at it. And so when like things pop up, I'm like, am I looking at this realistically right now? Am I independently thinking about this scenario, or am I just accepting what everyone else is saying because they're all saying it? So me having my principles to always look at, it corrects me all the time. You know what I mean? And then I know that, oh, you need to think this thing through on your own and have an independent thought here, you know? So that one's really important for me because there's just a lot of bullshit out there, right? Then guys, 13 is self-reliance, you know, trying to live on your own terms. You know what I mean? Let me see. I got a couple of notes here from that. Yes, there can be frequently be a social cost to being an independent thinker. So now your principles, integrity, and character could come into play. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you putting all those thoughts out there? You know, that's where you could get attacked and stuff like that by being an independent thinker, thinking about scenarios. And you know, like you said, now your principles, integrity, and character could come into play. You know what I mean? So like for me, like I just keep things, like everyone could do whatever they want. Like you could display that stuff to people, you could talk about it. For me, I keep things inside. I talk about it with my family and discuss it, you know what I mean? But I'm not like one of those social media birds that puts all my thoughts out there or anything like that. I don't like to rub people the wrong way or anything. To me, it's like I'd rather avoid all that. I don't need it. For me, it's just analyze the scenario, come up with a conclusion on my own, and then I have that for me, and then I make sure my family knows, and then make sure we're trying to think on the same process, and that's it for me. And then I don't try to like sway people's opinions. You guys go, everyone could think on their own however they want. You know what I mean? For me, I don't try to like, you know, turn people into how I think or whatever. It's just more, you guys could do whatever you want with the information. You know what I mean? And some people like to put their stuff out there, and like that's where people could attack your character, your integrity, what you stand for, all that. And you know, for me, I avoid that. I just keep my thoughts to myself, and that's it. You know what I mean? Everyone could do whatever they want though with their voice. So I was on self-reliance 13. You know, live life on your own terms. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like every decision I want to make in life, I want to make sure it's like making me self-reliant on myself. You know what I mean? That I rely on myself and that's it, on my family, and live in the life that I want, you know? So everything that I do, I want to be able to say like, I chose to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, I choose to get up and train, you know, the Fit in 42 squad because I love it. You know what I mean? I'm choosing to do these things. You know what I mean? I chose to marry Dulce. I'm not being forced to do anything. I'm self-reliant on my thoughts, on how I choose to do things, and just living on my own terms, how I want. You know what I mean? And for me, that's really important, just to have that kind of self-reliance and only rely on myself. You know, and what I mean. And you know, that's something that you got to kind of build up to, and you got to keep on trying to become more successful and do all these things to get more reliance, and just living on how you want to live. And that's my goal, is just to kind of, what that one is, be self-reliant and just live the life that I envision, you know what I mean? And do the things that I want to do. So when I wake up, am I doing what I want to do? And then it has to be yes, or else I'll do something else. You know what I mean? And that's why I think I'm so happy, and everyone sees it, because I actually enjoy what I do all around, you know, because I'm willing to choose what I want and not just accept things for whatever it is. Everything that I'm doing has been chosen because I like it. And that's what I think like self-reliance is just living how you want to live and how you envision, you know what I mean? And, you know, that's a hard one. So everyone's got to kind of work towards getting towards that, you know what I mean? But the ultimate goal is to just live how you want to live, you know? And then, guys, number 14, fear nothing in the world. Fear paralyzes people, causing a life of mediocrity, and mediocrity is unacceptable. That kind of stems off of like some of the other things we said, though, about risk and stuff, but just not having fear inside of you, you know what I mean? And just not being afraid of anything. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, I always just look at like the worst thing that could happen is like you die. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, for me, I'm like, I'm not really scared of that. So, you know, the ultimate thing people fear is something that I don't fear at all. So everything in between, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So don't go away. Be willing to take risks. Be willing to do things. Be willing to be adventurous. Be willing to, because guess what? Just have no fear in your heart. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know what I mean? Don't let that fear hold you back on the things you want or you want to do in your life, you know? And like I said, I think a lot of people live with fear all the time, you know what I mean? Because fear is like forced into our thought process, into our lives. And that's a lot of things that are just being thrown in your face is fear-based, right? Because fear is used to control things. And for me, I try not to have fear in my heart or in my head, because I don't want to be controlled by it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are. So just try not to practice that, to not be afraid of certain things, no matter what it is, because understand that people use fear to control, right? And for me, I always try to be aware of that. Like, am I trying to be controlled here? Why do I have this fear? Or has this belief been pushed into me? Or is this really like a thought that I'm having? So it's like, just trying not to live with fear at all in your heart, because guess what? Things aren't that bad, you know? And then, guys, the next one, number 15, is always be leading, you know? For me, it's like I lead my family. I lead, you know, the 42 teams. I'm in a leadership role. But no matter what in my life, I want to act like a leader. And so always be leading. Lead by example at all times, which is the only way to lead, right? Uh, and for me, it's get people to match your intensity, desire, standards by doing everything better than everyone. Lead by example always, right? So for me, I never tell people like, yeah, you need to do this, you need to, that's not how I lead. I show people my team here, I outwork them all. I'll coach harder than them. I'll coach more hours than them. I'll put more hours in. They see it. I'll clean the toilet. Keep this place spotless. They'll clean. I'll come in and re-clean it because it wasn't up to standard, right? So for me, it is just to always be leading. And in order for you to get others to match your desires, your standards, and you know, your expectations, you have to show it over and over again. And for me, that's what I try to do, you know? So I try in my house, I try to lead by example and always be doing the right thing so that like my wife sees it. So for me, I never tell my wife, hey, clean the house or whatever. No, I clean the house better than everybody, and then she picks up on it and starts helping me clean, right? So because she sees me doing it, she ends up helping me. You know what I mean? Or I don't ask her to cook. I cook my food. You know what I mean? I don't ask anything from her. I just do it. And then eventually she helps me with it. You know what I mean? And for me, that's not that, because that's for leadership in my eyes. And then for me, it's like also training hard, working out, living the health, fit, and 42 life, because all of you guys look to us to do it, so I got to live that way. I got to breathe that way. Everything I do is this way because I have people. I can't just like not be doing it. You know what I mean? I have to live it so that you guys see it and then you guys do it. You know what I mean? And then like my team here, they see me coaching at a high level, giving everything I got every single day. So they do the same. You know what I mean? The other gyms and stuff probably see us operating at a high level, hitting goals, doing this, doing that. And guess what? We never told them to up their game. They automatically do it because they see the standards, the desire, and everything that you're putting into your operation. And that brings people up by them seeing high performance, right? If that makes sense. So it's just leading by example in everything you do, and understand that people are watching that. You can't just demand people to be better or to do certain things. You have to do it at a super high level to where they get that urge to want to actually perform like that, because they also see the result of what you're doing, right? So for me, it's like always trying to get other people to match my desire and the standards that I have in everything I do by just doing it at a high level, and then when you're the best, then people want to emulate that. And then therefore, that's how more success happens underneath us, right? So that's like something that I always keep in mind, is like how I am leading, right? So giving it everything I got in class, giving, showing, because if I'm giving my all when I'm coaching you guys and I'm giving it everything, you guys pick up on that, right? And then you guys up it because you guys see me giving it. But if I'm just like, not doing anything, guess what? That's not going to help you guys, right? And then you guys aren't going to like that. But if I'm giving my all for you guys, then you're going to give your all for me. And that's just how I think, right? So it's all in all the time, right? And just leading by example. And then, guys, the next one, 16, is don't talk about it, be about it. I really don't like talking, like really irritates me bad, right? So it's like take initiative, be proactive, and do it now. Don't talk, make it happen, and like, for example, like Dulce will be like, hey, babe, I want to do this fitness show. She'll tell me once, okay. And then it comes up again. And I'm like, next time you bring that conversation here, show me your registration papers and you've already paid for the entry, right? Because that's just how I think. It's like, I don't want to keep talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Take action, make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly how I think. It's like, I don't want to keep having the same discussion over and over again. I just want to get things done and handle it, right? So like, that's something I say that irritates her, actually. I'm like, don't talk about it, be about it, and then she's like, so it's just something that I say to people, like my close people, because they know that I don't like to have the same conversation over and over again when it's something that we could handle right now and just get it over with, right? So it's just taking action. Don't talk about things, just do it, right? If you've been talking about things for month after month after month, just do it by now, right? Like, I don't want to have the same conversation for a year. Have you been saying the same thing? Like, I want to do this, I want to do this for year after year after year. Really take action and do it, because inside you want it, right? So you have to take the initiative to make it happen. Quit speaking it, quit putting words to it, and start putting action behind these things. You know what I mean? Too many people just spend their time talking over and over again. And like, I train myself to act. So right when I want something, like, and that's talking to me too. Don't talk. Am I talking too much? So if I'm thinking about something, I'm like, am I talking or am I acting? Or do I need to sign up for this course, or do I need to do this, or whatever it is? So these are always things that I look at, And then the next one is 17, develop personal systems for problems, right? So this one's a little bit interesting, because Like, I think a lot of you guys understand business, systems in business. Like, in order to have a good operation in business, you have to have certain systems in place. Like, Jones, you would understand being in a hotel, things like that, right? So for me, I think like personal systems, like take the business concept, apply it to myself. You guys have already experienced two systems that I've applied to, that I created and I applied to my life: the anxiety, stress, and depression seminar. That's a system of mine that I use on myself, right? So when I'm feeling that way, when I'm feeling that type of way, I go to my blueprint of anxiety, depression, and stress, and I look like, these are the things I got to do. This is my system, right? When I'm feeling unmotivated, what do? I go to my unmotivated blueprint, look at it, right? They're all like one page, like little systems. It's taking like problems that you have in your life and creating a solution with a system that could overcome it, right? So that's like how I think, though. That's how my thought process thinks. Like, I need a blueprint. I visually need to see like a step-by-step type of thing. So I analyze things like that in my life, my personal problems, issues, or things I want to accomplish. And then I want to build systems, right? 17, Tonita, was develop personal systems for problems, right? So personal systems for problems. And like I said, that's like the depression, anxiety, and stress seminar. That was a system of mine that when I feel that way, I go to those principles and then I start executing on the plan, because I know that will help me overcome it, right? When I'm feeling unmotivated and uninspired, I go to the unmotivation, the motivation blueprint, and I start just executing on it. Am I doing all these things to keep my motivation up? So I try to create these personal systems for problems or things that I want to work on. And then I start practicing them, and then if I ever feel that way, then I go to it, right? So that's just something that I do. So if I'm ever like having a problem or an issue, and then I'm like, am I sticking to my principles? And I'm like, well, I don't even have a system for that problem. So I should probably start thinking right now. And then I actually sit down, develop it, think about it, have a thoughtful, meaning, intention, be deliberate about what this problem is. And then I get it handled. Then I start to practice it. You know what I mean? And that's just something that I do, like maybe not everyone will do that. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's like a thing that I do because it works in business. So it's definitely going to work. It should work in your personal life as well. Right. Because we have a lot of business systems in 42. That's why we're extremely successful. And then the same concept is like, I want to be a successful individual as well. So I create all these systems for myself to follow so that I'm constantly achieving and getting whatever I want. Right. So develop those systems, right? Put thought behind your problems and create solutions for it. Right. Then guys, number 18 is basically break traditional ideas, approach everything different from the masses, right? So it's like everything you do, don't do what everyone else is doing. There we go. Casey Walshak, structure equals freedom right there. Absolutely. Structure equals freedom. It's creating as much structure possible with, the developing your systems. And, like, I know, to go back to that one, structure and systems and routine is like, I'm obsessed with it. That's how I think, you know what I mean? So for me, I have to create this stuff because I understand how I operate. Other people might operate different ways, but like, the systems and the structure approach helps me do what I got to do, right? And so to move into 18, again, break traditional ideas, approach everything different from the masses, right? So for me, it's like, it's everything, just trying to, what are people doing? And I'm going to do the opposite, everyone's working 10-hour or 8-hour days, well, I'll work 12 to 16, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, it's like, I do the opposite of it because guess what? The masses are doing it wrong, in my opinion, you know what I mean? So I look at everything and like, what are they doing? You know what I mean? That I could do different. How are these people coaching? I'm going to take a different approach and coach this way, right? Or develop my own way, trying to be different, right? Because if you're obviously always taking the same approach as everybody else, well, you're going to be tied up with those. There's nothing special about you at all anymore, right? Because you're just a regular person, right? But if you start taking the approach, well, they're doing it this way, but I want to do it this different way to get the same outcome or an even better outcome. Now you are special, right? You are different. So it's like analyzing every little thing in life. Like, what are these people doing? All right, well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to just be different in everything, right? No matter what it is. So I train myself to see what people are doing, and then I'm going to take a totally different approach to get a better outcome than them, right? Because then you stand out at the end of it, right? So that's something that I practice over and over again. It's like just trying to look at that. What are people doing? Okay, I'm going to take the different route, right? And just so you stand out. Don't do what the regular people are doing. Don't do what normal is. You want to stand out, and actually be superior than them, right? Then, guys, the next one, 19, is basically the attitude, my attitude on everything that I do. It's like a can do, no problem, never back down, whatever it takes, I'll figure it out. Yes, type of attitude. That's how I want to have it every day. It's like with everybody. My wife asked me this, oh, Jones, you know how to stand out, the master. So guys, this one is just the attitude that I want to have every single day, right? With everybody. It's like a willingness to do anything, whatever it takes, I can, yes, I'll do it. Just constantly just being someone that can aid and help, and having a willingness to constantly try my best, right? So for me, it's like trying to cultivate the attitude that I want on top of like the positive mental attitude, being positive, but being a person that people can rely on. My wife, when she asks me something, I want to be like, yeah, of course I'll do it, and I want to have that attitude to help her, to help my daughter. Or we have all of the members. I can't be like, no, I want to be like, yeah, I can help you. Absolutely. And then figure it out. You know what I mean? And, Tonitha, can you help, Casey Jones stand out? Huh? So guys, yeah, just have that attitude that like you're going to be a reliable person. You'll do whatever it takes. You can do it, and never back down, because that's when people will come to you. That's when people will always come to you, because they know that you're going to be a person that delivers. So I always try my best to say yes, I can do it, and try not to make excuses up for myself. Especially because you're not always going to want to do things, but having that willingness to do it and being that person, right? So always just trying to control my attitude and stuff like that. And for me, it's like cool because like, my business partners, they know my attitude, my wife. So if I'm ever slipping in some type of way, or I'm not acting according to my principles or values, they are the first ones to tell me like, what is wrong with you right now? This is not our Ryan speaking. You know what I mean? So cut it out straight up. And then I'm just like, all right, slap to the face, get back on track, right? Because they know who I am and what I stand for and how I do things, and they'll put me in check really fast, right? And that's what's awesome about people knowing your principles, your values, is that they can hold you to them, right? And that's why like having a structured plan. A lot of people that never even heard this would probably be like, oh, this sounds just like him, you know what I mean? And now they're gonna hold me to this standard all the time, which is awesome, you know what I mean? And then number 20, guys, is willingness to change, evolve, right? Which is a concept of like Kaizen, but like basically none of this is cemented, right? It's having a willingness to learn, to change, and to evolve all the time, right? So if maybe there's a concept in here that someone didn't like, maybe they could talk to me about it and make me think in a different way. Even the way you guys came in and put your chat in and said it in different language made it actually sound better. You know what I mean? So now I could actually probably change the wording to certain things because you guys influence that. And that's a willingness to change, to evolve, and to just grow constantly. And that's the major key for me, is always being in the pursuit of growth. You know what I mean? And learning and self-development and being kind of obsessed with it, because I want to keep on refining myself and never just being stuck to like, this is who I am. It's like, no, keep on evolving and keep coming better, and, keep learning, because you'll never know it all. You'll never know it all, but having the willingness to give your best every day, to learn as much as you can, to try to improve like you guys are doing is a key, and just having that like growth mindset, that Kaizen, constantly improving all the time is a huge key for me. And that keeps me going because I want to learn, I want to expand, I want to get better, and I want to take a nugget away from Casey Jones. I want to take gems from Tonita, and learn from Jennifer, and be willing to like listen to you guys and take that in and just evolve myself as a person. So just having that willingness to get better all the time as an individual, is like my 20th law and rule that like I follow, and like these are principles like I follow, and I check these to make sure like I'm living this, you know what I mean? So this is like something that I created for me. So this is like my over like 10 years of me just like evolving as a person, and just what things that mean a lot to me, things that made me better, things that I'm working on, and just trying to know myself better. This is like my principles, my value system. Then this is like how I operate, right? And it's just laid down on paper, and because I thought about it, and I think a lot of people should do that, is actually think what's important to you, because the key for me is like now every decision, everything I do, I read this sheet, and then I'm like, am I am I this person? Am I sticking to my principles, my values, and what I believe in? You know what I mean? And if not, I could correct it. You know what I mean? But at least I know what I stand for here, and I could always analyze it, like it's just on one sheet. I try not to have like million sheets. I try to keep everything on one sheet because it's easy to just look at in a couple minutes and make sure like, okay, I'm actually sticking to this person. Or I'll look at it and be like, wow, you really haven't been planning, executing, and doing nothing. So you need to get back to that. You know what I mean? So it's a way to kind of correct things, keep me in check. And, it really helps to actually put these things down, these principles that you follow in your life, because you could constantly analyze it, correct it. And like I said, you guys are all going to be different. And I would like encourage you guys to take the time and to put down your principles and come out with your laws for yourself. They're probably going to be completely different than mine. But I wanted to give you guys a kind of a layout, an idea of what mine looks like, and then you guys could develop yours. And because it really helps me to have these principles and value system created so that I can analyze it and make sure I'm being that person that I want to be. And then because I display and I actually put it out there to my wife, like, this is who I want to be, or this is what, and then she could hold me to it, or everyone could hold me to it that knows these things about me, you know what I mean? And make sure that I'm not slipping or going out. I'm staying in that lane of who I want to be, and it'd be cool if you guys created your own principles and I got to see them one day, and see what you guys stand for. You know what I mean? But guys, that is the be great and dominate mindset, the principles, creating principles, and your own value system. All right, guys. So does anyone have any, let me see these last chats, if we got anything. Yeah, that was a good one. Best comment tonight. Thanks, Dieta. Don't be afraid of failure. Be terrified of regret. That is money right there. I think I'm going to steal that, and that's going to be a quote of the day. Absolutely. Right there. That's a quote of the day for sure. Yeah. Thank you. So if anyone wants to say anything or anything, just raise your hand. I'll unmute you, and then you could say whatever you would like if you want. Very good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, team. Tonita, let's.
Listening to you, Ryan, is like it's me in you. Seriously, like not being afraid or overcoming so many obstacles, when we were young and little, and living so many nightmares, that has made me who I am today. And I was used to be, well, yes, I was very shy, didn't know English or anything, but now it's like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to say this, but I had to grow some balls. I don't know how else to say it. I had to become strong, or go in a corner and cry. But when I would say something to my daughters, which, that's why I'm blonde, because I'm totally gray. I had, my word was everything. If I said it, I would, she knew that I would fulfill it no matter what I said. And so listening to you is like listening to my life. And as I'm writing this is like, this is all about me. So you're telling us to rewrite it. I go, how? That's me.
And
So
that's true. It's like people that come from our background, like, because people will be like, I have an aggressive mentality, which is understood, but when you come from where we come from, it's like, that's what it took. That's what it
mhm.
took to get out of it, So yeah, I am aggressive. I am a certain type of way. My mindset's different. Yours is different because that's what we needed to get out of it. And like, people don't know, Tonita, when I was 20 years old, I started with these guys, and she used to take me out to breakfast every like week, like multiple times a week. We would sit down and she would talk to me about life because she knew my mom and she knew my story and she knew so much about me. And she would talk to me, encourage me to just keep going down the path I'm going. And she was definitely like a big influence on me, a 20-year-old kid that came from nothing. And in those times, I was still in the fight, guys. I was in the fight, like my dad in prison, all this type of stuff. So when she's speaking these things to me and being very honest and telling me about her experiences, her life, it really helped me. You know what I mean? And in her attitude, just seeing the way she would do things, wouldn't I even doubt that you helped cultivate this type of guy. You know what I mean? Because of the attitude you would have. And
Thank you.
I have always loved Tonita because I call her mom number two. If you didn't know, she would take me in and like just talk to me and just keep me uplifted. And I've always loved her, appreciate her, and she's definitely a strong, powerful woman. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you, Tonita.
Love you more.
Anyone else want to speak? That is it. That is it. We're closing in. What did we get some?
Thank you, everybody. It's always a pleasure to
Happy you
spend
guys
my evening. Hey, Vanessa! Oh my God, she's here.
right there. She's been there.
Oh my God! I talk smack about you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, mommy.
Well, guys. So, guys, thank you, guys. I see everyone's like happy about these seminars. They're loving them. I'm happy you guys are liking it. You guys are learning things, and just keep on doing it. A lot of you guys are doing 42s coming up. So next week, you guys are going to be doing these all the time, but just learn from them. We're all spending a lot of time trying to, help you guys and do this. And I'm happy that you guys are actually taking things away from this and learning. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Anything we could do to help you guys just learn a couple things to get better. And I'm really happy that a lot of you, because a lot of you are actually the ones constantly coming up to this and to these seminars and actually taking advantage of them. So that's super cool to see who's really committed to growing and learning. And I think the ones that have been coming to these have been getting impacted, and you could actually see it when I talk to you guys, and I could see it. Your attitude's different, and than others that aren't actually doing this to learn and control their mind and learn a little bit. So I thank you guys for spending your Friday night with me. This is a hard night right here, Friday night. So I'm really happy that you guys joined me on your Friday. All right, but I love you guys, and be great and dominate. Keep living the Fit in 42 life, and you guys take care. All right. Later, Jones. Bye, Vanessa. Bye, guys. Take care. Bye, Tonita. I love you. Bye, Jenny. Later, guys. I'm gonna have to write down Dieta's quote. I'm still in it. I didn't throw anyone under the bus. Right, there we go, Case. That's true. That's that hard spot, that Friday night spot. All right, guys. You guys take care. All right, team.